Joining me now to talk about the strategy, co-founder of Betches Media, Sami Sage. She's also the author of a new book, Democracy in Retrograde. Sami, we saw the beginnings of this very online strategy with the early branding of President Biden as Dark Brandon, his aviator-wearing alter ego who was getting a lot of policy passed. Now, though, talk of the impact of positioning a candidate like Vice President Harris at the intersection of pop culture and politics. What does that look like and what's the upside?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me, Allie.
Always.
You know what I think has been so intriguing about observing the Harris campaign, formerly Biden campaign, over these past few weeks is that this campaign, whose staff is still essentially the same rank and file people, is actually not manufacturing this, but they are doing an incredible job of leaning into something that is already there, because the vice president's cultural positioning actually preceded her being the nominee. The important thing I think to understand about internet virality at this scale is that it can't be faked. It is a reflection of genuine interest. And if you happen to see the footage of their rally last night in Las Vegas, while the crowd was waiting for her to come out, the energy was undeniably electric, and it looked genuinely fun. So you can very much see how her virality is really just an online translation of enthusiasm that masses of people are actually feeling in real life. But I happen to think that some of the degree of the excitement around her is a side effect of the mood of the race before President Biden dropped out. The Biden versus Trump matchup was a reflection of our gerontocracy in government, which is a legitimate structural problem. And it was not driving enthusiasm on either side. And you remember Nikki Haley famously said that the party that ditches its 80-year-old candidate first will be the winner. We don't have a winner yet, but we do have quite a bit of qualitative and quantitative evidence that this race has changed. And pop culture is intrinsically tied into youth culture, so it is impossible to ignore that all of this enthusiasm was unlocked when we finally had a younger nominee.
You know, this is also not a strategy without criticism. The questions that politicians can get from influencers are different, sometimes, candidly, not as tough or in-depth as you'd get from traditional reporters who are here in D.C. and on these beats. So even as she rides this viral wave, are the criticisms of where they're focusing their efforts valid?
I think it's valid on its face, but I also think the criticism is coming a bit too soon within the context of this race. She has only been the nominee for a few weeks, and given that it would not have been appropriate for her to start preparing things like policy papers or an electoral strategy before the president dropped out, the critique does feel a little petty and soon. Really, running for president is supposed to be about reaching and persuading voters. She only has 100 days to reach the entire country, and she spent the first 3 weeks of the campaign getting off the ground, setting the tone of it, and meeting voters in swing states while also overhauling the internal operations and drawing up a policy platform. I will also note that when she walked up to a press gaggle the other day, the only things they asked her about were Donald Trump and the debate, hardly really anything of substance. So while I do feel that not engaging with the press is a valid critique of a campaign, I think it's coming a bit soon, which frankly undermines some of the credibility of the critique. And ultimately, it sets up a situation where when she does eventually sit down with them, it will be perhaps a bit needlessly antagonistic and less likely to be evaluated on the substance. But overall, I frankly don't think that this is a critique that marginal voters, the ones who she really needs to win the election, are going to be deeply attuned to.
And she has said, Sami, that she wants to get something on the books before the end of the month, probably after the DNC. Quickly, in the last few seconds we have here, there is a fine line to walk between brat and cringe. How could she go wrong? Is there a downside to this strategy?
So let's be honest, I think she will go wrong. Every candidate does, because no candidate is perfect. But I think this question is a good opportunity to discuss how we speak about her as a nominee. She's had a great start to the campaign, and maybe she is setting her own high bar, but nobody is infallible. And I think we as observers of this race would be more honest brokers of it if we're mindful of the expectations that we put on her to be completely flawless, especially when you look at her opponent, who really only makes headlines by lowering the bar.
Sami Sage, thank you so much as ever for joining us.